Ready? All right, 6 o'clock, we'll call the plan commission to order. I'll ask staff to take a quick roll call.
Here doing
Here.
Clark.
Here.
Kathleen Degenhardt.
Here.
Brian Frank.
Here.
Dave Broshka.
Here.
Kirk Torkelson.
Here.
Jessica Katzenmeyer.
Here.
Brandon Ranky.
Here.
We have 8 present. Beautiful.
Item C will be approval of minutes from our meeting on August 27th.
So moved.
Second, we have a motion, we have a second. Are there any corrections? Not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, the minutes are approved. And we'll move on to part D of our agendas, new and previous matters. We'll take up item 2A and 2B, and I will turn it over to staff.
Thank you, Mayor. We have Mandel Group and also Rinka here to guide us on a presentation largely focusing on the architecture and the overall development of 2 different projects in the city, Sona Lofts Phase 2 on Lot 3 and Lot 4. First, they're going to begin with just an overall presentation, just covering both lots. But we'll guide it back into each lot for the approval and vote by planning commission.
Okay, I'm Dan Cott with Mandel Group. Thanks for having us here tonight. We have our team from Rinka. Buck will be presenting the designs that we have assembled here for lot 3 and 4. As most of you know, lot 4, we've been here before. I started at Mandel about 2 years ago, and I think right at that time, fall of 2023, we submitted for our initial conditional use, and we've been really working through ultimately what the design of that building would be. And then I think came to the realization that in terms of scale, we had two very small buildings, but at the time had one small building, and being able to accomplish and kind of complete the neighborhood and the timing was really important to actually fill out the rest of this project that we've been working on for 10 years. And so you'll see tonight the updates to lot 4, as well as the new development proposal for lot 3, and then kind of the center anchor to the entire Sona and the West development, which we're kind of calling Sona Club, which is our amenity space that will be used by all of the apartments south of National Avenue. So with that, I'll hand it over to Buck.
Yeah, thank you for the time. I appreciate it. I'll be brief. My goal here is just to help you guys understand how we are thinking about it, the cues from your city that we're tied into, as well as the immediate development. So I'll be brief, but hopefully thorough at the same time. So on every project, we start with our vision and drivers. I think.
We can just pull.
Yeah.
Smaller. You want to
You want to drive or you want me to drive?
Oh, your computer? Yeah.
It's Steve's computer, but if you guys want to drive.
Yeah, if you're sitting here, I can just throw it that way. We didn't practice our Beautiful. All right. So vision and drivers at Rinka, we stitch these into every project. They're critical. They're what help us engage with the client to understand what's important, get them, we all agree. And this essentially tells you, the city, what we are trying to do with the project. So the vision is a lofty statement: modern residential buildings inspired by West Dallas industrial heritage, balancing simple forms with contextual details that connect to the character of the existing development. So we're looking at the city at large, but also there are cues from the existing Sona buildings that we want to tie into. The design drivers are practical ways that we essentially approach the vision statement. So bold simplicity, clean proportions, strong silhouette, minimal complexity, and the warmth comes through personality, light, rhythm, and contrast. You'll see that, I mean, you can see that pretty clearly in our forms already. Industrial practicality refined. So when we thought about industrial sort of sense on this, we weren't thinking sort of traditional, just steel beams and dark city. We wanted to think about what does it mean to actually think about industrial design. Really, it comes down to a really rational, simple approach to it. It's clean, simple forms in that regard, as well as it was when we start to tell the story of our Sona Club, our amenity building, and some of the interiors, we actually want to celebrate sort of that blue collar working class history of a lot of your heritage companies that you've had here in the city through some of our materials and branding. Finally, surprising moment. So what is critical to us? We want to really put the money where it matters the most. So in every unit, we're proposing floor to ceiling glass when you walk in all of our bedrooms and units, from the floor line to the ceiling, spending that money where it's important. And then color and warmth layered in. So there's some cool moments with the clubhouse, some heritage and cues to the existing city that we really like as well too. So local context, I don't need to tell anything as you don't know, other than, obviously we've got the Kearney Trekker building, but the unit forging building is something I used to drive by a lot at night when it was lit up. I became enamored by it. This is when I was in school at UWM, like learning about architecture, learning about the city, fell in love with the way that building represented at night. And through this whole project, we were trying to find ways to stitch some of that idea, that quilt work of color into the building. And I'll talk a bit more about how we're approaching that in the clubhouse, but we did sort of pull that in. Beyond that, again, just thinking contextually in our site, it's industrial around us, but if we look at Sona, there's sort of that crispness too of the bright contrast and materiality, the white whites and the dark darks that we want to pull to in context as well. I'll move through these quick, but this is lot 3 on the north, the existing Sona building, and lot 4. The idea is that these are sister buildings that are speaking to each other in context of the larger development. And then at the ground floor, we really wanted to focus our attention on, I guess I'll point over here quick. So on lot 3, the entire ground floor, we have retail, lobby activation, and then the Sona Club. And then on lot 4, our entire ground floor has these really unique walk-up units. So thinking and giving a lot of instinct to what does it feel like on the ground floor of these on both. So they're starting to speak to each other. And then both forms are this simple sort of elevated, really simple volume that is dictated by a simple rhythm of units and then good materiality that we're talking about, simple volumetric forms. And I'll speak to materials here in a bit, but some subtle plays on shadow lines within that building overall. And then each volume, so we've got this floating volume we've talked about, and we did the simple shift on each one. That's where we bring in our warmth. That then sort of brings that, you can't really see it on the renderings and the elevations, it shows up well, but we've taken each one of these floating volumes and slid it as a warm wood gasket that actually wraps to the entry, as well as marches down the entries on lot 4 as well. So that warm wood material comes in to signify the entry, show the front doors to the walk-up units, and just really create a nice sort of comprehensive whole between these 3 parts. And then finally, I mentioned rhythm and grid. So both of our volumes, both the floating volumes and the anchored brick volumes on both buildings are just organized by putting our windows in the right spot in our units. I mentioned they're floor to ceiling, but they're actually, when you walk in, everywhere we possibly could, you open the door and you're looking right at that slot of glass. So that sort of gives us a rigor for the building overall, as well as on our lower brick volumes. We've given a lot of thought to it's essentially this whole volume all the way down this actual solid brick. And there's some subtleties with between the vertical window coursings. We've gone soldier coursing in there. This whole building is coursed on brick dimensions. And the bricks actually speak to each other across buildings. So the darker accent brick on this building is the same darker brick that roofs this whole building. So there's some pull between the buildings as well. But there's been a lot of thought to the detailing of that grid, back to that sort of simplicity of an industrial approach and how we approach it. So we'll start with, this is lot 4. As I mentioned, a simple, clean, white volume. We've committed to this, right? Committed to the white. We've got white window frames in this volume, white framing, white balconies, and then white materiality. So that, again, that's very intentional. And then this really heavy grounding mass that roots it back into the development. As this wood starts to wrap, you get these individual walk-ups. We've been championing with Mandel these really nice front door experiences. So we're proposing these really generous outdoor acrylic canopies to create really great covered porch areas. So when you think about how this thing presents itself at a ground floor to the neighborhood, this is a really unique unit type that doesn't happen very much on multifamily buildings of this type, but given the desire to screen some of the parking and engage the street well, we had an opportunity to do something pretty interesting there. For lot 3, I'll talk about the Sona Club just in context. So when we started on this, we wanted to make sure that this clubhouse volume, where it says Sona Club in blue on the roof of those renderings there, stood out as unique within the development and did not feel like it was attached to lot 3, because the intent is that it's a destinational space. It's an amenity space for all the residents within the Sona development. So the first thing we did is sort of consider it in context, and we sort of broke that adjacency. So we've turned that volume at an angle that aligns with Sona and National Beyond, allows our primary outdoor space to align with the green space to the south of Sona. And then one of the programmatic elements within this is like a spa element. And so that creates a bit of more of a private spa, outdoor spa space back here. It also lets this primary outdoor space get better sun exposure throughout the end of the day, making it a better space for longer through the precious hours of sun that we have. A couple more slides here. I said it'd be quick. So this is the lot 3 rendering. I'll focus for now on the multifamily building itself. So it's really an inverse of this. If you sort of look, it's pretty clear. We committed to the dark on this building. Dark windows, dark siding, and then we wanted to balance that with a bit more interplay on the brick here. So that's where we're mixing our 2 bricks together to really celebrate the verticality of the bays of windows that wrap around the entire building. Same thing, warmth at the entry, and then a celebrated entry between the buildings that actually is the entry point to both Sona Lofts and the building at large. And I'll use the last image to talk specifically about the Sona Club. So, we talked about what is the language and form of industrial buildings. We kind of romanced the idea of a building that felt like it was built out of leftover parts. Some things were left there before. We kind of found a scrappable material behind a farmer's shed and kind of put it together. What does that rationalize as? So the building form as itself is a simple gabled form that we actually tilted the gable. So it's an offset gable so that our primary clubroom space is on the north bar of this. So the highest peak of that interior space is underneath it. And then we're just sort of using some simple weathering steel and raw steel even out here to just frame that space with cost-effective trusses, framing the space well. This is going to be a primarily activated outdoor space for the residents. The material across the entire building is different panels and types of weathering steel. So some of it might be corrugated, some of it will be flat panel. Sort of the strategy that we've had so far is taking that randomness and applying it back with some rigor of, above windows, you might have one type of opening and everywhere else you might have like a corrugated. So trying to bring rigor to something that doesn't feel, it should feel thought through, right, is the intent. We're looking at a standing seam roof on this, and then this really interesting sort of beacon signage element for the Sona Club within that on the roof to sort of anchor it within the development overall. Last thing I'll talk about in this building is I go back to the Kearney Checker building and sort of that patchwork quilt. We've talked about the storefront within this building actually bringing some sort of one way, like that bus film you see on the side of city buses, where when you're inside you don't experience it, but at night when this building is lit, you'll get some of that patchwork stippling kind of brought into the main part of this building to tie it back to the development overall. So simple detail we really liked. I'll talk, last thing I'll talk about is materiality here. So I've got them here, but primarily, I would say the primary building materials on both of these is the brick on the darker building. Got a really dark brick with a bit of a sheen to it, which we really like. It helps the building change its character throughout the day in a really nice way. And then a lighter gray brick to supplement that on the base of this building. But as you can see it, and I mentioned, we're kind of mixing those together as a primary and accent color, but they exist on both buildings. Our wood look fiber cement. This is a product we really like. It's got a really good grain to it, which means when the sun hits it, it still keeps its wood grain. It has a great color to it and a great warmth. And then the horizontal fiber cement panel on both of these buildings, I don't have it painted because it comes as only primed. You site paint these, but this images represents it well. It's not a typical lap siding where you just got a small reveal. It actually has like an architectural channel gap on it that has a really bigger, much bigger profile than you would see on typical lap siding. This is actually a great representation of it. So there's a scale here that is sort of above and beyond what you'd typically get in a lap siding, and they'd be site painted with sort of the dark and the light. And we feel that with working with some of this materiality, it's going to do a great job of catching the light in really subtle ways on these simple forms. And then finally, within the clubhouse, weathering steel, pulling in that standing seam metal roof, and then just linking it together with that dark trim. So that's it. I'm out of breath, which means I'm done. So thank you for your time. Hopefully that was brief enough. And
Does anybody want a close-up view of any of the materials? We can bring them around for you to take a look at it. Yeah.
Go ahead, Wayne, and then Brendan.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. What's in the Sona Club?
Oh, I can take it, yeah. So the Sona Club functions as a clubhouse resident amenity, so it's for your residents. The front side facing north or facing the existing building with the windows will be a club room, which usually has entertainment in it, TV, games, a kitchen, kind of a wet bar for resident use. And there'll also be an area kind of carved out for co-working or, just if you're there during the day and you want to get, open your laptop and get stuff done. The back half will feature a fitness room, so with fitness equipment. And then we have 2 full-service bathrooms with shower facilities and then a wellness lounge. And outside of the building in a fenced area, we're gonna have a sauna and cold plunge and shower. So kind of a spa amenity to complement the pool that we already have at Sona. But there's a lot of movement towards wellness and we feel like it's a really great addition to the overall development. The lot 4 building on the right here will have a very small kind of club room and maybe some cardio equipment for fitness. For people who just don't want to roll out of bed. But we felt like with 2 buildings and just over 100 apartments that to centralize that into the development and to kind of create this found building and its relationship to all the retail activity that's going to be in Makers Row and the street grid really kind of completes what we're trying to accomplish there.
And this is for residents only.
Yep.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, thanks for coming in and presenting all this. I think it's an exciting project for the city. I just had a couple, is the Core 10, is that actually Core 10 or is it like a fake?
Not fake. No, we hate fake.
And then I guess kind of echoing some of the comments on the 92nd and Greenfield and your colleagues, this stark white building that's like kind of stands out in this whole development here. It's like how you guys landed on that and kind of what the feelings are about. We talked about the all white for the last couple meetings about that, so I was wondering if anybody else has comments about that. Yeah, I think, like I said, I'm excited for this and glad to hear they're actually using actual materials.
Yeah, we are too.
I'll just note that the buildings themselves are quite small. I mean, if you look at the site plan with Sona and how long that building is, I
Yeah.
think these viewpoints give you a really nice image of, or a rendering, but they're very small buildings, 50 to 60 units a piece. And so while we kind of made a large emphasis on like the elongation, we're talking about a very compact building.
What, thinking about the previous design, what caused you to ditch the red?
It just felt like we were trying too hard.
Sure.
It was not. And we've had to push Rinka to incorporate color, to be honest. We kind of joke about it, but
I know.
we wanted something to be, I think we were trying to duplicate some type of like a sawtooth roof there.
Sure.
And I think it just got a little bit far away from us. We ultimately came back and felt like doing the majority of the building in masonry. And if you kind of look at the left side of both of the buildings, we have like a very traditional looking, almost like warehouse mercantile building. And if, at some point we'll see not tonight probably, but the other side of that building, like it really lines up like almost like a building that you'd see on Main Street with masonry, and you almost wonder if there's like wood frame construct, like timber in there because of the way it appears. So we just went back to kind of more natural materials and just more of a clean look. And I think we're a lot happier with where we landed on it.
Yeah, I appreciate the use of masonry on these projects. Thank you.
I have a question
Go ahead.
on the lot 4, the one with the white building.
Mhm.
You said something about walk-ups or what
Yeah, so
commercial space or-
no, so this entire lower portion here, facing within the development, our lot 3 is over here in the distance. These are all walk-up residential units here. These are front porches.
Oh,
On the
okay.
entire east first floor of this, which is screening and covering the parking garage behind. And I meant these are, I would love to have had the ability to really render one of these out because they're actually really nice experiences. We brought the masonry into it, that warmth of wood. They're great front doors and we'll do a
So
lot
they're-
of it.
they're living spaces.
Yeah, there's 6 apartments there next to each other with direct access. And because the site slopes down, you'll actually have the floor to ceiling in those units. As you get closer to the entrance here, will get taller. So you'll have some very high volume spaces for those units.
Interesting. Thank you.
Any other questions? Just be item 3 also, or is it?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're gonna we could probably take two and three separately. I mean, they've
Okay.
been sort of talked about in a combined effort, which they're associated, but they
Okay,
are separate.
and I read it up in 2A, 2B also, so.
Yeah, so I'll just give, oh, wait.
Mr. Mayor, I have a
Yeah.
question for Steve. On page 1 of your presentation, you say Plan Commission's consideration for the combination of two parcels is necessary for the project's development. When do we take that on?
That is part of this discussion this evening. They've actually submitted a CSM to us. And it basically separates, it takes a piece of the Makers Row property and creates a separation so that you have two distinct lots, lot 3 and lot 4, using a portion of that access drive that runs down to Mitchell Street. There will be a common easement that runs through the property, so there will be that shared access way from National, from 66th Street, and then to Mitchell Street.
For clarification tonight, are we approving the combination of these two properties?
Yeah, it's actually just a redivision. So it's my wording there probably wrong, but it's just a redivision of the existing lots that are out there to create the distinct lots 3 and 4 with that cross access easement through it.
Then one other question on page 9 of your presentation, talks about We Energy and staff is not recommending Plan Commission require overhead wires being placed underground. Shouldn't we be pushing for underground?
We want, what the point of that condition is that we want to explore that option with Mandel and with Brinka, the development team, to see if it's feasible or not. It could be extraordinarily expensive to the point where it's just not feasible. So before we, require something, we're just looking to look into that and get some cost estimates in a scenario so we know what we're dealing with. I think we looked at it some years ago, and for whatever reason, we stopped where we did and we left the poles that are there now. And that could have been just because it was just extraordinarily expensive. We want to kick those tires again, relook at that.
If I may ask the Mandel representative, are you leaning towards underground power?
I mean, we prefer it, but I think when we looked at there's two poles there on the southeast corner of lot 3 and also have high voltage on top of them. And so our experience of one, they're about 18 feet off of the face of the building. They are really only in or near the bottom quarter near the garage entry. And so we reached out to We Energy's project management to just determine what the cost is. If it's $20,000, it's not a big deal. If it's $300,000, it's a problem. So I think we're just going to explore it. Obviously, our preference would be that they're not there, but we also just need to understand the economics of it. We Energy doesn't often give a deal on this stuff, so.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Now, is there a motion for item 2A and 2B?
So moved.
We have a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Now we'll take up item 3, the site and landscape, so off phase 2, lot 4.
Oh, wait. And just for context, this is the approval of the one without the clubhouse. This is the one that was formerly red. It's shown on the right side. This is one with the stark white architectural details, just so clarifying. For the site plan, there are no changes for the site plan, besides just some minor changes with that bioretention pond, pedestrian pathway potentially around that. Otherwise, the parking areas remain the same, on-street parking, and a private drive as well. Landscaping plan, there are some minor changes that's going to be explored more by Mandel, to be approved by the city forester. And then just keeping them in alignment with that same landscaping, since there aren't many site changes. But the main plan, just so we have context, on the previous architectural plan, previously Nishiha paneling and Hardy paneling were the main material for the exterior materials. And then you see that splash of color on the bottom. That's been removed in favor of different materials with, as Buck mentioned, masonry, wood look fiber cement panels, and then also the dark colored fiber cement panel. So you see that current architectural plan here. I'm breaking up into three main materials for that visual effect. This is just rendering of the previous that was approved in 2023, then extended by planning commission in that earlier this year, I believe.
Yeah.
March, I think. Yep, March. And then here's the current architectural rendering as we saw earlier. No changes to the floor plans, 51 units, 21 studios, 27 one-bedrooms, and then 3 two-bedroom units. Parking on that first floor with those 6 walk-up units. And then the second through fourth floors, the mix of the apartment units. No changes for parking, besides a removal of 1 parking space. Otherwise, it conforms with our code requirement for maximum parking stalls, and then also the minimum number of parking stalls for bicycles are met as well. And then through this, the project fulfills the and maintains the design review guidelines. And then staff is recommending approval of the site landscaping architectural design amendments for Sona Lofts, which was previously approved by Planning Commission.
Any questions? Go ahead, Wayne.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Is the bio retention facility a pump?
Yeah, I mean, it's there now, and it's not always wet, but it will hold water under storms, and it's part of the stormwater management system for that entire site.
Given that it's 12,000 square feet, what will be done so that it looks okay? That it looks, that it's not a mosquito catcher?
There's not, I don't think we have improvements necessarily over out to the basin because that was installed previously, but we are planning a path and sort of dog walk around the outside of it. So we'll have, I think it'll be a concrete path to get down to the front of the building, and then some outdoor sort of pet friendly components around it. But by and large, that's not changing from what is there.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Cooper?
A second. We have a motion and a second. If there is no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Definitely helpful here on behalf of Novanessus. And what we proposed this evening, Novanessus, it's water retention tank, which will be used for to help reduce some of the water usage on site. Novanessus is one of the largest water users in the city for their production and what they do on site here. They are a major headquarter, here. Whoa, I think it's on timer. So the water used as part of that cooling process, and then instead of just being drained back into the city stormwater system, reclaimed and then reused as part of the initial production process on site. And that's a savings for Novanessus, savings for the city, and recycling that resource and using it as part of the production for the system. The tanks will be installed on the north side of the building. If you recall the overall project, I think I've got a plan on the next slide here, but this will be on that northwest side of the building. There's currently a sound wall on that side of the building, as well as considerable landscaping. There's also a considerable amount of development taking place as part of Project Door. So we don't see this as a I guess, any real problem, as far as visibility for the neighborhood. It certainly will be visible on that north side of the building from 92nd Street, but so are the existing liquid nitrogen tanks and other silos that are currently existing on that site, on the north side of the building. It is a truck loading and moving area. It's a large part of their production process for incoming trucks and outgoing vehicles as well. The existing silos that are over there. So it's really, quite honestly, an amendment, sort of continuing the theme that's already happening on that side of the building. The tank will probably be about 40-ish feet tall, and the building is roughly about that same height. So it's not going to be visible from the south side of the building. It'll be primarily screened from the south entirely, as well as from the east entirely. You may get glimpses of it from 92nd Street, but otherwise, your sight lines to this area are going to be pretty much broken up. The timeline to commence is next spring, and then hopefully finishing up in the summertime. This whole area, should have mentioned, is zoned light industrial, and this type of thing is common for that type of district. It's allowed.
Mr. Mayor, I'll move approval.
Second.
Okay, there is a motion, there's a second. Are there any other questions or is there discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, that motion carries. Turn things over to you now.
All right, have a good evening.
Godspeed. All right.
Good evening. Good to see you.
You all sound too.
Take care, Dan. Sure. We'll move on to number 5A and 5B, conditional use permit for RCCG Household of God, or proposed religious institution use at 6228 West Washington Street. And who has it?
That would be me.
All right.
Mr. Chair. So, as Wayne had mentioned, we do have a religious institution use proposed at 6228 West Washington Street. The property is currently zoned RB, intended for a diverse array of housing types on small lots. Obviously, that's not what's happening here, but as a religious institution use, that would be conditional within the zoning district, necessitating the conditional use permit and SLA process. The previous use of this site was by First Spiritualist Church of West Allis, but unfortunately, just because their lack of tenancy has elapsed just over 1 year, we have to go through the conditional use process again for the new church. So we have RCCG, Household of God, who have sold their previous location in Stockville, and they're looking to establish in West Allis. Overall, they're proposing pretty typical church services that we've seen elsewhere in the city, of a church service and Sunday school from 8 a.m. until 3 p.m. on Sundays, and then a Bible study on Wednesdays from 6 p.m. until 8 p.m. Of note, the congregation is only about 50 people in size. Overall, they've proposed a really similar floor plan to what's already occurring, essentially the same. So on floor 1, we do see an entryway, a moderately sized church space, a little stage, and just past the stage, we'll see a 1 office, 4 small rooms, 2 bathrooms, and then kind of this larger event meeting space, recreational area. And the only changes identified for this floor are the removal of these pews that you'll see here for a chair and table sort of situation. And there's just a little visual of like the recreation larger space just beyond the church space. On floor 2, we see an organ and music room, an eat-in kitchen, a dining and rec space again, 2 small storage rooms, and then the largest part of the second floor really remains open to the vaulted ceilings you'll see on the first floor. So there's the eat-in kitchen, another moderately sized open space, kind of that organ music room I was talking about. It is clean. It was really helpful getting these images from like the Realtor site online just to visualize the space better, but these are the proposed floor plans you'll see here. This is for the first floor. And then for the second floor, and we can always revisit if anyone has any questions, of course. But moving on to the exterior plans, Really, very few, if any, changes are proposed to the facade and exterior features of this site. We really don't see them altering the facade details whatsoever. Aside from the potential for new signage, which the applicant is aware that they'll have to apply for. Overall, I took a look at the site. The brickwork looks good, roofline copings are intact, the window treatments, fencing, and entryways do appear in good order. However, there is a bit of vegetation and weed overgrowth in key areas, such as seen by this entrance here, that the applicant and congregation will have to take care of. They do have some really well-established perennial species on site already. They just need to clean up those planter beds and then also remove this dead tree on the site, which could pose a potential risk to the neighboring adjacent property. But overall, this scope of work I've determined does require a landscaping plan, just because if they're ripping out really large chunks of vegetation, question remains, well, what are they going to do with that empty space? I think it's very fair to require the applicant to submit that landscaping plan. They have shared with us some additional details, such as for their refuse collection. While they shared with us that they were looking to pursue a residential commercial hauler, we will have to inform them that due to their use of the site as commercial religious institution, they will have to have that commercial hauling bin required. But they have identified a good space that could facilitate either, essentially. They are looking to put that adjacent to the alleyway in this location here. Again, the vegetation just under those stairs will have to be cleared out as well. One, to maintain good order of the property, but two, that is an egress stairway down from that doorway. The parking plan is, there really is no plan. There's an existing street parking network already facilitated on this site as previously used by the former congregation here. And we just ask additionally that on that landscaping plan, they show us where any new lighting features will be located, as well as what those features will entail. But overall, we do recommend approval for RCCG Household of God at 6228 West Washington Street, subject to the following recommendations. Of course, the removal of that dead tree you folks saw adjacent to 63rd Street, an indication of landscaping site changes within the proposed scope of work, and the indication of any potential replacement species. And then also a commercial waste hauler will be required to service this building, and they'll have to apply for the permitting for that. We also ask to see that exterior lighting plan, as I had mentioned, and then of course, if they should choose to do signage on the site, a signage plan. At this time, I'd be happy to answer any of your questions.
Any questions, any issues?
Do
Yes,
they-
Kathleen.
Do they need to have an elevator or anything for the second floor, or is this?
That has not been identified by our code enforcement team.
Okay, okay,
I think a majority of their operations will be occurring on the first floor.
okay.
That's good to call into question. We can definitely
Well, I was
post.
just wondering if there's a change, sometimes those things are required, ADA compliance, but,
Fire department and code enforcement say there's no change in use, so they were,
so they're not
They were
worried
not-
about it. Okay, thank you.
Fair question, though.
Is anyone occupying the facility now?
Nope, it's been vacant, just over a year. I think they hit like 13 or 14
And
months.
and the church owns,
It was owned previously by a religious institution, and they're in the lease agreement stage right now,
you
so.
know what?
They're in the process of like negotiating the lease, which is contingent upon receiving plan commission approval. So they're in essentially pending your folks' approval here.
Certainly seems that the major issue here is the exterior of the landscaping, getting rid of, making it look good again.
Yes. And there
They're
are,
committed to that?
yeah, I have identified to them some of the key sites of concern, and they said that they're willing to work with us on a landscaping plan. But I mean, going to the site, it's got really good bones in terms of like the building quality already, and also the landscaping quality. Like they do have established planter beds. They do have signage with established landscape underneath the signage. The bones are there. I think it's just clearing the cobwebs, essentially.
Okay. Any further discussion? Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? There being none, those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Next is 6, site landscaping and architectural design review for Lehman Brewing on existing use at 6001 West Madison Street. And who has that?
That would be me
Okay,
again.
thank you.
Making it very simple here, streamlined process. So as Wayne alluded to, we do have a project coming in for Brewing to update their exterior site details a little bit. Essentially, they're looking to update and renovate the gravel parking lot and then add on some outside dining, which is very interesting for the site. Right now, on site, if you take a look, you'll see a small parking lot that is gravel primarily, unscreened dumpsters, that's a bit of a typo there. And then a covered outdoor seating area with some string lighting, but it's like 1 or 2 tables out there basically. The use as it exists is a tavern, and in the C3 district, it is a permitted use. No other changes are essentially proposed to the site or operation, so we're just looking at this key outdoor detail here. Here's a picture of when I popped on site, what it currently looks like. So we've got the beginnings of kind of what they're progressing into with this project. And then that's an area that will be regraded and paved over with concrete. This is kind of like a multifaceted little project. There's kind of like 2 main components in my mind. I think of it as the repaving project and then the outdoor dining project. With the repaving part of this project, they're looking to regrade the parking lot for improved drainage on site and also some easier maneuvering for snowplows. The eastern half of the lot will see the replacement of traffic bond with 6-inch concrete slabs, extending from the west of the existing driveway apron to the back fence along the southern lot line. The image will speak for itself far better than I could do. The existing parking spaces will be rotated 90 degrees to the south, and they're really intended for if there's anyone who has ADA parking requirements for the site to visit or for employee parking. The other half of the gravel lot is going to be transformed into that beer garden, outdoor dining area. And a really key improvement to this project that we don't currently see on site is we're going to get some really high quality outdoor screening of those dumpster details, primarily cedar fencing with swing outdoors. For the outdoor dining project, that's largely going to be on the western half of the site. We're converting that gravel area to a tamped traffic bond material. And we're going to see here 10-foot tall 4x4 and 6x6 cedar posts dotting around the site. This is a really interesting detail because it's a little bit up in the air here, whether they'll go with wooden fence paneling or potentially metal grates for hops, which isn't that fun. They're also going to have decorative planter boxes. And the overall goal with this fencing area here is to provide heightened privacy for those outdoor diners, but then also hopefully to dampen any noise that could occur on site from the dining outside because it's residential right adjacent to this area. So because of this, their dining hours are not going to extend past 9 p.m. For that outdoor dining option just to keep the noise down. And then we'll see a little plan of how the diners are going to exit through the back of the building through the existing patio space. Overall, the proposed timeline of work does fall within our requirements generally. So we're looking to see a bulk of the project completed by November of this year, hopefully, and if not, potentially then in spring of 2026. Second part of that is that fence paneling or potentially hops grading detail with those planter boxes, which funding pending are going to be installed in fall of 2026. Just as a note, the applicant has 1 year to begin construction, and that construction has to be complete within 2 years of your folks' approval here. So here is the plan, which is very detailed, a little difficult to see when we're on the big screen here though. So as you can see, we do have Lehman Brewing off to the right over here. And from there, the diners are going to access through their current access area through the back, through that little fencing area that already exists. To the bottom there, we're going to see that cedar trash enclosure. The site of the dumpsters is essentially remaining pretty similar to where it is now. And just above that, we're going to see the regrading of that driveway entrance with 3 rotated parking stalls. Just to the left of that, that's going to be the bulk of the dining area with those planters, fencing in great details, and primarily composed of tamped traffic bond. overall, we are recommending approval for this project. The only thing we're looking from the applicant still is just a lighting plan. But other than that, it looks, it hits our requirements for this type of project. At this time,
Sarah's here too.
see,
Yeah.
Sarah is here for layman, which I was also going to ask. So if there's any questions or details that need further furnishing, we do have someone from layman. But at this time, we can take questions.
Any discussion, questions? On this item, this right up here, it says the fence panels and planter boxes will be installed as we have additional funds available with a goal of fall 2026. Should we make that firmer and it's gotta be installed by fall of 2026?
Yeah, I think that'd be fine to. Yeah. Have to be installed fall 2026.
Makes sense.
I agree.
It is a bit wrapped into the contingency for the project and fully complete within 2 years, but if you want to call that out specifically, that's okay too.
Yeah,
I mean, they're operating right now, I mean, without a fence. And there haven't been any complaints, so. I guess I just wanted to. Case for maybe a little flexibility for the property owner and their operation, so. Stand the troops were always the big thing.
Well, I'm fine with it.
Can we do it for, well, not just not fall 2026, fall 2027 would be 2-year mark?
Yeah.
Do it at the 2-year mark. I mean, it has to
A
be
long
complete.
time.
Yeah,
It has to be completed in 2 years anyway. So you're gonna,
I'm gonna stay.
So we're gonna say-
Fall 2026.
I'm fall 2026.
1 year then? So then it
Yeah.
has to be completed in 1 year. There's no point in having a 2-year stipulation on it.
Well, I think.
Why is there urgency?
Pardon me?
Why
We're gonna do our best.
Okay.
Why is there urgency?
For the fence?
Yeah, I just want to make sure that we're. Slide. And. Yeah, I just want to hold the applicant accountable here for this. That it gets put in.
So
Is that what our motion is?
That'll be my motion.
That's your motion. Do we have a second to that
I will
motion?
second.
We have a second. Any further discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. We now move on to number 7, certified survey map to split the existing parcel at 2214 South 60th Street into 2 parcels. And who has that?
Um.
I'll take it.
Sure, okay, all right,
Thank you, Wayne.
thanks, sir.
So on the east side of the city, you see right here, across the street from former Longfellow Elementary School, we have a double lot situation going on where there's a vacant property. Well, it's not vacant technically until it's split. There's a property with, I'll just pull it up here right here. So there's one property, this is what you're seeing here, it's a proposed certified survey map to split that single property into 2 properties. So you see lot 1 on that northern side, closer to Grant Street. And then lot 2 on that southern side, that's currently the part of the property with no development on it. The intent is to split that lot by certified survey map and then also build on that new lot. One thing to keep in mind is that the existing home on the proposed lot 1 is 1.5 feet from the north property line, meaning that's a legal non-conform. Right now, it's a legal non-conforming use. By splitting that property up, you're creating a non-conforming use that essentially is not legal anymore. It's not grandfathered. However, the home was built in 1900, and then staff is willing to take this request before Board of Appeals, where we will see if they will be granted an area variance to realize that lot split and allow that 1.5 foot setback for the existing house. This is the pathway that was suggested by our city attorney. And then if Plan Commission does approve this, it moves on to first Board of Appeals and then Common Council. Here's just a closer look up at that proposed lot split.
The home on that existing lot right now was built in 1900, so prior to the city of West Dallas, prior to our zoning ordinance, so. We want to promote development, especially housing in this case, for an infill lot, so that's
Discussion? Yes, sir.
What is the side lot setback for a new construction?
3 feet.
Oh, okay. And
Yeah.
not like, oh, sorry, it's
Yeah.
that's 10 feet or whatever. All right, thank you for confirming.
Any other comments, questions? Those in a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion
I'll second.
and we have a second, several of them. Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Motion passes. Thank you. On to number 8, sign plan appeal for Union Green, an existing mixed-use apartment at 6400 West Greenfield.
This establishment is no longer there. And Jeffrey Hook, developer back here, Jeff is in the back here, and he's been hard at work at redeveloping this site for a mixed-use development consisting of 8 townhomes and then also another 11 apartments. And the townhomes are the green and darker gray color that you see here in the foreground, and then on the right-hand side is the apartments, which haven't been skinned yet with siding, but it's moving along quickly underway. So the intent here is to install a sign on the upper portion, the roof line of that the white apartment building along that roof line. The sign ordinance currently doesn't allow roof signs, but in staff's opinion, we actually encourage Jeff to apply for the appeal. We feel that that roof line sign, and I'll show that next, will actually be a very nice amenity, not only to advertise the development, but create a sense of place. I mean, the park that's on this corner here, it's been, relocated from where the apartment is now to the southwest corner of this site. And it should provide a very nice feature overlooking the park space, as well as just sort of attracting people's attention to this area in the 6 Points neighborhood. This is a better view of what Jeff has in mind. Measures about 23 feet long by about 2.5 feet tall. It is a sort of reminiscent of Pike's Place Market, or if you go to the Milwaukee Public Market, sort of a sign in that nature. It's much smaller than those two I mentioned, but it is an LED. It's not neon. I mean, it's sort of built to resemble neon, but it is an LED variety of sign. And it is 57 square feet in total area. There's also a second 9x9 painted wall sign, and the code does allow 2 wall signs for the development. The reason for the appeal is again this roof line sign on the west elevation. This is just a view of the painted wall sign that will go on the southeast corner of the building, facing 64th and Greenfield. This does not require an appeal, but we're just showing it to you for the context of the overall scope of the design intent for the Union Green development here. Another view of that elevation view. And then this just is a bird's eye view of the latest landscaping plan. We use that latest landscaping plan to sort of help show the location of the new roof sign. Again, overlooking the park and providing a view from as you're headed east, and then that painted sign again, the southeast corner. So we're recommending approval of the sign variance, and we feel that it meets the criteria of the sign ordinance. The 2 criteria we feel it meets best with any review of variances. It's the first one is the sign is proposed will not result in an undue concentration of signage, which renders it difficult or confusing to read, or in other words, a lot of clutter. This is not a cluttered or overcompensated sign design. It's a very aesthetic. It fits the overall intent of the redevelopment site. The proposed sign is unique and of exceptional design and style as to enhance the area. And we feel it does that to a T. So for those reasons, we're recommending Planning Commission approve this sign. And then at which point Jeff will apply for a signage permit. Approved.
Is there any discussion? Questions for Jeff?
Does this give then other buildings the ability to then do the same thing?
Yes, yeah, I mean, it is something that I think we need to take into context. I mean, on a case by case basis. It may not be for every development. I mean, years ago, there was a place that, where JC's Pub is now in 81st and National, it's called Jackrabbit Slims or something like that. They had different things coming off the roof, a rabbit, some other, it was sort of whimsical, fun kind of thing. Plan commission approved that one. So we don't get a lot of these, but I mean, they are trending, I would say. I mean, this is a very unique style of sign. It may not be for every site, but I mean, I think for certain ones, it really does help the design. I don't think it's very cheap either, so it's not for everybody, but for certain developments, I think it fits really well.
Is there a reason why I wouldn't go just underneath that roof line? Or it has to be, or does it have, compared to being on top?
Yeah, Jeff, I don't know if you want to be just
I can just,
Go
so,
back another,
sure.
so one thing, it might help, 'cause I'm a visual person, so
Sure.
it can help, so.
yeah.
When I put together, unfortunately gonna share, but I don't like printing out 17. This is just a show of, this is what the sign, this is what Innovative Sign did at the stadium. So it's the same kind of sign, just version of that, and then this is another building that has a similar kind of look, so. Now, then I'll answer your question. So this is the same sign company, this is a sign they did at the stadium, the same kind of a thing, it's a channel letter, it's LED, as Steve said, but it's we already seen it. Just a couple copies of it. It's LED, but it's meant to be neon, so it doesn't spin the power meter, as much as it used to, but the point of the thing is to try and harken back to the industrial idea popping up above. We looked at some ideas of putting it in this sign band. It loses that whole, like, this thing is meant to be just kind of like, this is a cool architectural statement. To be perfectly honest with you, when they first came up with the idea, of the group, I was probably the most reluctant. And as I kind of looked at it, they showed some examples I really kind of got excited about. I think this is gonna be a really cool look. Goes back to the heritage of the area without kind of pandering to it. So I think this is gonna be a really cool little thing. And again, like Steve said, it's only 2.5 feet tall. This is not very big. It's not a very big building if you've been down toward that end of town. But we think it's just gonna be something that really pops and kind of creates a little bit of an icon in that neighborhood.
Any further discussion?
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Those in favor?
I gotta abstain.
Pardon me?
I gotta abstain from voting. I can't abstain, sorry.
Abstain.
We have a motion and do we, and a second, and I'm sorry, where are we on the approval process?
We just gotta take a
All in
vote.
favor?
Yeah.
Any opposed? Passes, thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
On to number 9, tax incremental district project area 7, Summit Place Business Park, and alignment with the 2045 comprehensive land use plan and redevelopment vision for the city. Good, young man.
Thank you, Chairman.
Plan Commission's role tonight is to determine if the TID project area has been redeveloped in a manner that is conforming to the comprehensive plan that was approved in 2024. The zoning of the property is a mix. Currently, there's I1 as shown in purple, which is industrial, and then also C3 commercial. Of these zoning districts and uses, light industrial is shown on the site as an existing use, which is permitted in the I1 district. Commercial, light industrial, flex, restaurants, and group childcare are permitted by initial use permit in the I1 and C3 districts. And the neighborhood services are permitted use in the C3 and I1 districts. And those are the current uses on this property as a result of that redevelopment plan and maybe some historical lingering uses that have carried over. Looking at the future land use, this site and TID District 7 is in general conformance with the 2045 comprehensive plan. As previously mentioned, the uses for industrial mix, commercial mix, and our high density residential align with, currently, the goal and then what's existing on the site. The existing land uses for each parcel are allowed land uses for their respective use classifications, and then they are consistent with the specific zoning districts. As noted right here, you do not see any high density residential currently, just because it's part of the former motor casting site. And that's part of a different active redevelopment plan, so. The purpose of this TID amendment is essentially to approximately add, around 800,000 project's costs for the acquisition of the former motor casting site that was previously mentioned, which is within half-mile of the district boundaries. And then just some other stuff that the city will allow approximately 1.2 million in excess revenue being transferred to TID number 6, and then also 215,000 to TID number 13 as permitted by state statute. And essentially, as mentioned earlier, just focusing on that plan amendment and whether or not the project plan is in conformance with the comprehensive plan. We are recommending approval of TID 7 plan as it aligns with the 2045 comprehensive plan. Due to the history of the tax incremental district, the TID amendments and land use and zoning ordinance amendments that have been adopted with redevelopment and removal of blighting influences to a higher and better use as the primary goal. Thank you.
Thank you. Any discussion, questions? Your motion?
I'll move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Just before Jack goes on, that site, the former Ellis Chalmers area, after Ellis Chalmers went away, or left, went out of business, it fell into disrepair. It was one of the lowest paying taxpayers in the city to what it is now, one of the higher and probably highest paying taxpayers in the city. So that's a testament to the support of our planning commission, the common council, the CDA, and our comp plan towards, the vision that the city had for the future. So, thank you.
Thank you. Number 10, Tax Incremental District Project Area 21, South 92nd and West Greenfield Avenue, alignment with the 2045 Comprehensive Land Use Plan and Redevelopment Vision for the city. Jack?
Thank you, Chairman. Now this is for the creation of a new TID area. The role tonight is also to determine if the project area is in conformance with the comprehensive plan. This one's a little more simpler with the zoning. It's all one property, all zoned RC residential, which permits multi-dwelling residential use as a permitted use, as previously approved in about 2 months ago. And then the area was rezoned in 2023 from commercial and split zoning to that one RC zone parcel. And then no changes will be required to the zoning to implement the TID plan. Future land use shows high density residential matching what was already approved for the site and what is in development currently. And this future land use is consistent with the RC zoning. The creation of this TID district is for the purpose of removing existing blight on the former St. Aloysius Catholic Church and the former school that went along with it, Mary Queen of Saints. And essentially those structures are already gone, but the vacancy right now, we want to improve the district area and then create a successful TID district like TID number 7 as we previously saw. With that, we are recommending approval of the determination that the proposed tax incremental district project area 21 aligns with the 2045 comprehensive use plan and redevelopment vision for the city.
Thank you, Jack. Any discussion, questions for Jack? Is there a motion?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? There being none. Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. We have one more item, project tracking. Is that you?
I think we'll just take
Whoever wants to talk.
Go ahead, Jack.
Right here, you're looking at, the construction status of the apiary on 70th and Washington. Looks like they've got a good thing going right now. They're working on primarily the first building on the east side was topped out, and now they're working on that western building or northern building. Excuse me, the southern building is topped out. The northern building, they're constructing, see that elevator shaft, in the background right there.
I think, I guess the Bablaki building in the lower part, that was recently sold to the state, to the DOT, where they're gonna be taking over that building and using it as a, they've got a, I think, an office, a lab, sort of a construction area, sign company, which was formerly on 60th Street, which the lot, you can see it on the end of Ellis Chalmers Drive, which hasn't been built yet. It's, they're relocating from that location over to this Bablaki location. And the state actually endeavors to build this extension, this Ellis Chalmers Drive, eliminating the dead end Washington Street and then connecting 60th to 70th Street. So it'll eventually be a through street for traffic, as well as there'll be bicycle accommodations, separate bike path. Some new opportunities opening up there with that connection.
We have North Shore Bank on about 107th and National, next to that existing North Shore Bank. We got a lot of glass up on the building right now. If you go past that way, you'll see the construction actively nearing completion almost for that exterior. Doing a good job over on that west side of the city. And then we have a few other projects. Slingshot Bar, they got their signage up, and if you go past them at seemingly every hour of the day, they're actively under construction and doing work to progress for their, I believe, anticipated October fall opening. So there's a lot of work being done on that project. Checkers is also nearing opening. We haven't confirmed an opening date with them yet. I'm still waiting to hear back on them, but they're hiring. Looked like they had a hiring event when I was over there the other day to check on the progress. The Rev is also nearing, I believe, occupancy for their other building.
Yeah.
Or their other portion of the building. They already have active tenants within there. If you haven't driven past the Rev signage at night, it illuminates National Avenue over by the Historical Society pretty well. It's a great looking sign.
Did
October 17th,
you get an invite?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
ribbon cut on October 17th.
If you haven't seen that, check your emails. You should get an invite for a tour of that building. 17th.
Are you talking about the Rev?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. And then we have some Makers Row. We have a few tenants going in there. As previously announced, I think in Milwaukee Business Journal, Fork Farms, a indoor agricultural company, is going within the tenant spaces. And then we also have a few other users. I believe a cocktail bar is in works. And then also an event space. Yeah,
Black
but
Rose. is
Black
it?
Rose, is it?
I might-
might be, but they're working more with economic development currently to work through that project with Bob Bonnet of Mandel. However, they do intend to submit sometime this month for next month's plan commission. So keep an eye out for that, and then hopefully we see some progress moving forward for that.
Thanks, everybody.
Go back to that slide with Alice Chalmers Way. There's been talk that with the mayor and the city's effort, they're trying to move that project up. So we don't have to wait for a decade for that I-94 expansion.
Yeah.
Is it any idea where that stands?
2028 or 9, I think is it? It could be confusing that with Greenfield Avenue, but it's right around 2028 that we expect to see the Ellis Chalmers Drive extension. And they're doing that as mitigation for closing the on-ramp at Holly Road, the eastbound on-ramp at Holly Road.
Mhm.
So
Any further discussion? Thank you for your cooperation, participation. We're adjourned.
We need a motion to adjourn. A motion to adjourn. Second.
Yes,
Aye. Aye.
whatever that was. You made it to the finish line.
Good job.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
How are you? Been ready for?
Yeah, when I was there the other day, so I was just sitting here.
Okay, see you later, Wayne.
I don't know where they're at currently, but.
You were just loading it when driving. Okay, they're open. I think that's how you look at it, you know, I guess just, if it's drywall and steel studs and then plumbing and electric. Oh, okay, that's what I thought. They own a lot of our stuff.
Yeah, they had a few other things. Bought briefly a Punchbowl Social Place by the Gear District, but
Yeah, but I've heard.
yeah, they own. I forget what it's called
Well,
now.
let's see what happens for us, I mean. Make sure I'll still be able to get something. Yeah.
They have so many.
Yeah, I know you, don't worry about that. That's why I got you.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that. I know, that's the deal. It's like a company, I mean, they're like.
Yeah.
An organization, I think that's what, I don't know what, you know what I'm saying, if the woman comes in, she's her mouthpiece, she's probably an owner.
That's how I felt.
Yeah, I don't know.
Happy to be healthy, happy to be working,
Yeah,
happy to have a roof over my head.
Grand opening.
What more can I ask for?
Car?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's like a convertible, it's like a three-wheeler though.
Oh.
Kind of looks like a Batmobile.
Trying to.
I'll probably take a picture.
You
Well,
as
thanks.
well, you as well.
Hey, Steve, thanks.
Good to see you.
Yeah, yeah.
Good to see you. So they,
Yeah, yes. Yeah, you know, it's-
Try to
sit
say-
positive.